All right, how is everyone doing? I had my gear set up. I was just at a video today for YouTube for Justin Timberlake's new song. Don't know if anybody heard it yet. It's called "Say Something." Pretty cool. I won't get into a lesson here, bit of a habit, but it's the chords you need are like A minor, C, G, and D for most of it, and F is snuck in there too. But the purpose of this video is to talk very quickly about a very common question I get asked. It's basically, how do I hold my pick, or how should I hold my pick, or what's the best way to hold a pick? The first thing I'm going to semi-debunk here is that basically, like, it's down to everybody how they hold their pick. All I'm going to share here is my own opinion and my own experience from watching players over the years. But a very common one I see, and one of my favorite players holds his pick this way. So I can't do too. So I'll do a bit of talking, but not too much. Holding it with your index and your middle finger and the thumb. That is a very preferred method for players to hold, especially when they're beginning out, especially if they're young kids. Now, the deal is, why would somebody do this? Well, my hunch is it's way easier to hold it, it won't fall on you, and you feel like you have more control. The thing about that though is really that, like, I'll just play it here. Hopefully this mic is working. I did a video earlier, like a 14-minute video, and realized the mic wasn't loud enough. Okay, so if I hold it this way, okay, pros, okay, I'm holding it and it's pretty handy, I won't drop it, no pun intended. Now, a big con of this for me is that a lot of players I'd see when they hold their pick this way with the two fingers, the wrist slightly protrudes. Okay, yes, I'm using big words today. It's Friday, so watch the shape of my wrist there as I strum. Now I could go like this and straighten out my wrist, but now watch what happens, the angle. So I was here because I was getting in close to the strings. Now if I try and straighten my wrist, the way the pick is falling there, I have to move my palm in closer to the strings to get access to them, which means that my palm now is on the strings, which kind of affects the whole thing, which makes this wrist bend kind of a handy mechanism to allow me to do this. Problem with the wrist bend though is that, watch my movement as I strum. It goes. It's not too bad, but a lot of my movement is coming from my elbow then to move the wrist. But if you straighten out your wrist, then the problem, as we said, you're touching the strings. So that is one of the cons I see with holding the pick that way. I am a firm believer of holding it with your thumb and your index finger. Another reason is as follows. Like, if you hold it with these two, and if you're doing any song that requires you to use fingers as well as the pick, well, you're after taking one of your fingers away because you've assigned it to the pick. So some songs might go like this. So I'm using a mixture of the pick and the fingers there. Do that, all of a sudden I'm left with those two. And for anybody out there who wants to try it, something I learned a few years ago, I'd hurt my hand, and there's one nerve called the ulnar nerve that controls this finger, that has a part in this finger, and it controls half of this. So that's why these are so connected together at times. And if you hold a pick with the two fingers and the thumb, try and move those two and see how you get on. They kind of move, but watch the way that both of them have to move together. Now, watch what happens if I loosen up this one. All of a sudden, I have way more independence in my fingers. I don't know whatever network of nerves goes on here, but all I know is it helps my playing. So that'll be another reason to use the thumb with your index finger on the pick. All right, so that is that way. Now, like Eddie Van Halen, one of my favorite guitar players in the whole world, I've seen photos of him holding his pick with the thumb and this finger, and it never affected his speed. One of the most famous guitar players ever. But a possible thing that could have led to that was this guy practiced for like hours on end every evening. So if you are a player who finds this really comfy and you're like, I'm brilliant at using these two fingers with my thumb, it's possibly because you've invested so many hours in doing so. Now, think about it, like if you begin to use the thumb and the index, what happens is you're going to be back here at the minute. Okay, you will be slowed down, it will be a bit awkward, but you eventually, holding with these two and the thumb, you eventually hit a wall, in my own experience anyways, and the only way to get past that wall in terms of speed, in terms of technique, is to begin using your thumb and index. So, could be a good idea to begin trying that out if you haven't done so already. I think that's about it. I'll be dropping in a bit more after doing YouTube videos because I have all my gear set up, mic'd up, and I'll have another angle for the next day. Battery died on the phone earlier. So any questions on that, pop me a comment below. Have a good Friday.